When I saw the build on this one, I knew I would have to cast it because, yeah, Ogres are widely considered to be an S tier faction, very good right now for a number of reasons, so you definitely wouldn't take a very kind of odd quad shrine build, or at least double skull cannon, double skull shrine. We've got 3 Chaos Halberd warriors, 2 Minotaurs, and Valkia in there with a single unit of throwing axe horsemen. Definitely a very odd build, a little bit more conventional on the Ogre's side. We got a front line of Noblars, a second line of the Trappers here, with the Boglars, the Mad Marshes as well, some Man-Eaters, a single Lead Belcher currently getting blasted by those Skull Cannons, and then 2 Hunters kind of doing the hidden Stonehorn crouching Ogre in the forest there. Not really hidden, but still, they're trying. And the Ogre player definitely wasn't prepared. You can just tell by their initial kind of reaction and positioning. They were not prepared for the eventuality of Skull Cannons. Definitely thought they were going to be facing more of an Ogre rush situation, or Khorne rush situation, right? Sort of set up in somewhat of a defensive stance here, but they're going to get things together and start the attack relatively quickly here, not waste too much time getting shelled. Those Lead Belchers also have a few volleys fly over their heads. Skull Cannon's not getting the best contact here, but of course they can regenerate plenty of ammunition. I think it's just odd in general because they're sort of anti-infantry chariot type units, although the Blood Shrines and the Skull Cannons both in melee. Skull Cannon's anti-large shooting attack, well, it's not explicitly anti-large, but it is, you know, functionally a cannon, which tends to be pretty good against large targets. So let's get in close and watch these demon snipers pop off with their radical motorcycle cannon. Such a cool sound effect, honestly. Sounds like a little two-stroker. The fist bump there is going to not really do too much to those halberd warriors. Now, the Noblars here should just set up and fire their initial volleys, I would think, into really any targets here, but especially those that can't heal, like these halberd warriors or the Minotaurs. Yeah, you can see the Hunters are throwing their anti-large javelins at the Minotaurs. I've already picked off a few models there, so the Ogre's definitely trying to sort of take advantage of their range units as much as possible here. And just as foreseen, the Trappers come up, start to unload their throwing knives on those halberds, but it's going to set up a beautiful spear Slopnir through the Boglars, and the Shrine also charges forward to help rout them off, so it's not, you know, Khorne's not completely useless at this distance. Managed to pull back and pop off another couple shots from the Skull Cannon there, just making sure those Lead Belchers really can't contribute too much. The Marauder Horseman must have got the south end of something there, probably ran into some Trappers or something, but regardless, got the Minotaurs now charging in, just trying to delete some Noblars. No, man, they do get deleted there, their health bar decreasing alarmingly. But the Stonehorns will penetrate here as well. There's not a lot of infantry for Khornes. They're going to have to protect what little they do have, kind of form up with everything and try and not let these Hunters just run rampant over the halberds as much as possible. But the Lead Belchers are going to start connecting some shots as well on the Minotaurs. Thankfully, really the only thing dangerous in melee here are the Hunters and the Man-Eaters, which do manage to get a nice little engagement here against these Minotaurs on this flank with the Stone Hunter supporting. Would be a pretty good engagement for the Ogres to try and accrue some value, but even then, the Blood Shrine's still getting some attacks in the back. It's probably increasing the stats here of these Minotaurs, right? Extra little bit of melee attack and leadership. Extra melee attack definitely never hurts, especially when you're against Man-Eaters, which actually have fairly decent melee defense. Yeah, the halberds also kind of help out in that situation, obviously. The Man-Eaters just taking substantial damage. Valkia getting a nice little rear charge, but of course, Hunters are quite tough to kill when healed by a Slaughtermaster. And the Noblars will come back for another round here, but maybe getting a little bit overly caught up chasing off those Marauder Horsemen. The Slaughtermaster then kind of gets singled out here in the center, which is definitely a problem. The Hunters are busy throwing their javelins, trying to finish off these Minotaurs, so, I mean, the Ogre player is doing a good job of trying to finish targets, but in doing so is kind of lapsing micro in other areas. We'll see. This Slaughtermaster is likely to survive this if he can get held out from Valkia's fell embrace. But right now, Valkia and the mass blocking here is actually keeping Slaughtermaster in check. Yeah, he's actually stuck in a triangle of motorcycles, and their little spinning attack animations are going to push him around a little bit, but mostly is unable to escape from the situation and is just taking constant damage from Valkia especially. The rest of the Ogre forces do manage to form up into kind of a secondary line here, with the Hunters standing firm, but without the healing of the Slaughtermaster, it's going to be a lot tougher for the Hunters to win this. Of course, a lot of the, yeah, pretty much all the Man-Eaters have been dealt with as well, so although it seemed a little bit odd on paper, just that insane attack, really. I mean, like Halberds with 42, or 40 attack base, you know, plus they get the extra, or that's with the Totem of Endless Bloodletting? Yeah, 48 with the Totem of Endless Bloodletting there, their own Frenzy. Such a high attack stat for Halberds, and they can really just tear units to shreds. Yeah, you see the Slaughtermaster going down there. So the Ogres are going to try and stand and shoot a little bit, which is kind of their original intention the whole time, and they'll be able to claw back some value here as, like, the Minotaurs, for example, get finished off, but without much to stop them. Believe it or not, the Shrines and the Skull Cannons at this point are basically unopposed against all of this infantry. Like, yes, the Stone Hunters can try and take them down, but then obviously there's all the Halberds and Valkia herself to deal that sweet, sweet anti-large damage. Man, I just love the models for the Shrines and the Skull Cannons both, and the VFX and sound effects, and it's just amazing. Such fantastical units that I appreciate the spice, the variety that Khorne brings to the table in terms of those units. Some people would argue they don't really fit into the setting, but I really like them. Demonic Engines is definitely something I'm a fan of, and Khorne has some of the more hilarious ones for sure. Not hilarious at all is the value, though, from Valkia on those Spear Slopnirs, just crushing lines of Noblars, and then, of course, lots of contributing anti-large damage as well, along with the Minotaurs there, and the Shrines, plus the Skull Cannons, did a lot better than I was anticipating. I saw this, I was like, oh, they're going to get eaten up immediately, but yeah, the Ogres just really didn't have a lot of punch. It was a lot of Noblars, and as good as Trappers are, arguably Khorne is maybe not the best matchup for them. I mean, maybe if they had some more time to actually shoot, but Spander did a good job of kind of focusing priority targets in terms of the Man-Eaters, and once that threat was removed, there really wasn't a ton to actually oppose these units. Like I said, the Hunters were pretty well countered already by all the Halberds and the Minotaurs. Speaking of which, Halberds generally going to be very cost-effective. The one Marauder Horseman does kind of get killed badly, but that's okay. The Ogres, yeah, the Stone Hunters didn't quite pay for themselves, neither did the Man-Eaters, and I think that's where a lot of this build sort of fell apart to a degree. Like, I like having both the anti-large and anti-infantry options between these different units, but just the way the engagements played out, I mean, I guess they really didn't have timely infantry support. Maybe the Noblars got shocked off a little bit too fast between, you know, charges from the Minotaurs that Spear Slopnir. Khorne was able to break a lot of the support Minotaur, or Noblars rather, before they really, yeah, went for those high-value targets. But it's definitely an interesting one. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.